Lots happening on the economic front globally. It seems that a lot of markets are faltering at this stage, but they're hitting resistance levels, and many are questioning as to whether we'll see higher levels from here onwards and what is going to push us higher. Is it about earnings? Is it about a change in monetary policy? What exactly do you think is going to happen?
Well, in fact, yesterday, Organization for Economic Development and Cooperation, OECD, is called, released some forecasts for the past quarter, which are quite positive because we're seeing the consumer in some countries, particularly in Britain, slowly coming back to shop. So I think going forward, with the Greece problem remaining with us, I think we're going to see people still very hesitant to go back, and therefore earnings still being very moderate. And therefore, it's still a wait-and-see game because the global economy is quite challenging. We're still in a crisis, not over yet. And there are all these cautionary signs that we're seeing. Until the certainty, until the China come to the party around the currency, the Greek thing is bedded down, then we can have some certainty and we can see the markets rallying back again positively.
We've got gold at around $1,145 an ounce. It's interesting to note because we're seeing the euro dollar at around 133. We know it's about euro weakness. We are seeing a little bit of dollar strength. It's interesting to see that that correlation has been broken. Apart from that, copper at around $8,000 a ton. We've got platinum at over $1,700 an ounce. Interesting to note that commodity prices are rallying. I mean, when you see that oil price at $85 a barrel, also creating quite a lot of concern. Lumkile, do you think that things have run far too hard too quickly?
Well, what's happening is that on the real sector, we know that there's still a lot of opportunities, with China still growing at the rate that it's growing and commodities being pulled up. Therefore, it's very encouraging, particularly for a country South Africa, where we're seeing back again a resurgence of the commodity cycle. In fact, Mick Davis, speaking at Wits yesterday, was reiterated at the point that, you know, there's a huge opportunity for a country like South Africa to exploit this resurgence of the commodities, and therefore seeing gold strengthening so much is again a cover for the risk that we're seeing in the global markets, that people are saying maybe I need to stick with the store of value, which is gold at the moment, given that all of us don't know what's going to happen in the next 6 to 8 months.
Lumkile, that's of course all being overshadowed by the fact that the rand hit around 7.18 to the dollar in yesterday's session. We have weakened a little at this stage of the game, but it doesn't change the fact that the rand has been very strong for quite some time now. The question is, how much longer are we going to see this rand strength for? We know we've been seeing quite a lot of flows into the equity market as well. We are an emerging market. We are offering better yield than most countries out there.
Well, in fact, that's a policy issue. Chinese have found the solution. You manage your currency. You make sure that you're competitive. South Africa is very scared, doesn't know what to do. The currency is very strong.
Do you think we should be intervening?
I think so. I think it's a huge opportunity for South Africa to manage its currency. Otherwise, if it's going to remain at doldrums, we're going to see our mining sector, our exporters being throttled, and therefore employment opportunities being sacrificed because we're sitting on the sidelines and we're watching these events as they unfold. Well,
Lumkile, one of the big concerns is that South Africa can't really intervene in the currency because we don't have the reserves. So what would be the best option? What is the solution in your mind?
The best option is to send a message by Jill Marcus that we're very unhappy with the currency. We've got unemployment problems. We've got our industries are not competitive. To make it competitive, we have to intervene the currency. And therefore, going forward, we'll lean against the wind to make sure that the
so what kind of intervention are you talking about?
I'm talking about calling, firstly, we've got an opportunity around Tobin taxes. We've talked about no one is doing anything. Secondly, we need to talk about saying that, you know, that we'll like the rand at 850, for example, without doing anything, just the noise. We'll send a message in the market that South Africans are not happy with their currencies. But sitting on the sidelines, you can see the Americans are up in arms because the Chinese are saying, we won't watch this game being played. We're going to do something. And South Africans have to do something. Otherwise, this economy continues being inward focused. We're losing competitiveness globally. And the commodity boom is coming back again. And our commodity companies are struggling. They're not making the gains they should be making, particularly in the gold sector.
Lumkile, looking at Eskoms, because that's also under the spotlight, we've got the World Bank loan decision imminent. $3.75 billion is what we're hoping for. We know that Finance Minister Pravin Gordhan said that if it comes with too many conditions, so in other words, if a lot of conditions are attached to that loan, then South Africa would be able to cope without it. Do you think that South Africa would be able to cope without that loan?
It will. Again, there's a policy decision, Eleni. We need to free the space. Let's free the energy sector. There are a lot of private sector players that are ready to come in here when the sector is freed. Secondly, we always get threatened that electricity prices are going to be high. Compared to what? Other countries pay heavily for electricity. Why should South Africa be different? So it's all this soul searching. South Africa has to look at itself and say, are we different from other countries? If we're not, let's level the playing field. Leveling the playing field, it means that the cost of doing business will go up a little bit, and therefore we'll need, then when the costs have gone up, the playing field is level. We'll see some leveling of companies coming back to the country, with us removing exchange controls as well, so that the economy becomes quite open and competitive. At this juncture, we're going to continue playing games, and we'll have problems for quite a long time. So the loan is very important for us because the state is controlling the sector, and therefore without it, it's going to be very, very hard, particularly with the commodity cycle coming back.
Lumkile, you mentioned, we were talking about the rand earlier and about possible intervention. Do you think that we're going to be seeing some kind of policy shift sometime soon? Because there have been...
We're never going to see it. We're never going to see it because there's no South African agenda. An agenda like the Chinese agenda, where you put Chinese first, you put the growth and employment of Chinese first. In South Africa, it's not the case.
Don't you think that
talk
creates
the talk, we never walk the walk.
in the global economy, though? Isn't it about having a
We've never been there, Eleni. We've never been there. We've never done it. We know we've got problems on the competitiveness. We've got problems on unemployment. And yet we're watching, we're talking and talking and talking. Talk is cheap. Let's do something about it and learn from it.
Okay, looking at the South African markets, because we're above 29,000, again, it's got mostly to do with the foreign inflows that I spoke about earlier, and this is, of course, attributing to the rand strength as well. How much further are we going to see the all-share index rising? 29,000, remember the all-time high was around 33,000, which we saw in March 2008.
Well, there's a lot of value in South Africa. I mean, lots of companies have got lots of cash. So going forward, with the commodity cycle coming back, we may continue seeing the strengthening of the currency, as well as the JSE going up, maybe breaking the 30,000 level. But the challenge for me is that this is paper money. We need to create real money. The real money is created by making sure that the wealth is evenly distributed. You do that by creating employment. And this economy is not doing that because we're all watching. We hope that the markets will resolve it. The markets won't do it.